It's January 12th, 2024. I'm documenting this in case I vanish under mysterious circumstances. Over the past week and a half, my life has been engulfed in unrelenting anxiety. I've confined myself within the walls of my modest 600 square foot apartment, abstaining from work, family visits, and contact with friends. You see, a few weeks ago, I stumbled upon something peculiar, and ever since, a series of bizarre incidents have unfolded. Having just wrapped up my first semester of graduate school, a few classmates and I felt the pressing need for a vacation to unwind. Hailing from Texas, we collectively decided on a road trip to New Mexico, aptly known as the Land of Enchantment. With an 8-hour drive ahead, the journey seemed manageable, and the allure of a destination none of us had explored was too tempting to resist. Our chosen haven was a spacious cabin nestled within the vast expanse of the Carson National Forest, spanning approximately 1.5 million acres and sitting at an elevation of 6,000 feet. This forest is known as the most popular national forest in New Mexico. Since we're traveling through the Christmas holiday and to the new year, we found ourselves in a relatively serene setting. The timing was impeccable. With most people spending time with family, we practically had the national forest to ourselves. The drive was long, but we seamlessly passed the time by immersing ourselves in music, belting out tunes, and engaging in a melody of road trip games such as I Spy, the license plate game, Would You Rather, Guess the Song, and a slew of other games. It turned out to be an absolute blast. As we neared the cabin, the journey took an unexpected turn for the worse as snow began to blanket the landscape. Fortunately, we had the foresight of renting a vehicle equipped with 4-wheel drive. Despite an hour of navigating the snow-covered roads in the national forest, cautiously negotiating turns, and being mindful of our speed to avoid hydroplaning, we triumphantly arrived at the cabin. It was a large cabin with about 8 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, surrounded by 20 acres, owned by the Airbnb host. There were countless trails nearby, snowmobiles, Bluetooth speakers surrounding the cabin, a jacuzzi. Hence, there was a lot to explore and experience come morning. The 8-hour drive had taken it out of all of us. We were glad to unpack and retire to our bedrooms, which we've all chosen prior to our arrival. The cabin had 3 floors, the main floor, the second floor, and the basement. My bedroom was situated in the basement. I chose the basement because it was the only bedroom on that level with its own bathroom and a large queen-size bed. I tend to snore and talk in my sleep, so being a little insecure about that was another reason for why I chose that bedroom. After bringing in my luggage and finally retiring for the night, I was suddenly woken up by the sound of what I thought were faint footsteps and a voice. However, when I opened my eyes and sat up, I couldn't see anyone in my room, nor could I hear anyone anymore. I've always been a light sleeper, and I was certain that I had heard something. Perhaps it was the wooden cabin. Perhaps it was old and groaned as the wind pushed on it, I told myself. However, what was that voice I heard? I replayed the voice in my head again. I could have sworn that part of what I heard was the sentence, "It's time to play." I decided to shrug it off. I bring my blanket over my head and attempt to go back to sleep. Not 30 seconds later, I hear the voice again. This time, loud and clear.
It's time to play. It's time to play.
I threw the blanket off and immediately leaned over to turn on the lamplight situated on the nightstand next to my bed. When I turned on the light, praying to God that it was just my friends playing a prank on me, I was shocked to see that nothing was there. This time, there was no mistaking what I had heard. I looked around the dimly lit room, trying to locate where the voice had come from, or rather, who was in my room. Upon looking around the room, I discovered a faint light glowing from the wooden floor of the cabin. It barely highlighted the outline of a trap door. Still half asleep and extremely tired, in my head, I still thought my friends had snuck into my room and were hiding underneath the trap door. So I got up to investigate. In retrospect, I regret ever getting out of bed that night. I should have just put on earplugs and went to sleep. However, the events that transpired within the next hour forever changed my life. I ignorantly opened the trapdoor. It took my eyes a second to adjust as the light from underneath filled the room, revealing a staircase. I decided to walk down the staircase, which led to an almost empty room. In the middle of the room was a chair, a desk, a monitor, a mouse, keyboard, and computer. On the monitor, I could see pixelated words which spelled, "Let's play." As I got closer, I could hear the retro music coming from the speakers of the monitor. In my head, I remember thinking how cool it was that the cabin had an isolated game room. It obviously wasn't fully furnished or set up, I thought. I sat on the chair and pressed the spacebar. The screen immediately goes blank, and seconds later, words begin to appear on the screen. The words read,
"Thank you for playing the cabin in the woods. Press 1 to continue."
Okay, I thought. Let's see what this game is all about. I press 1, and I see a pixelated style game showing 4 people in bed.
"The newcomers to the cabin have arrived last night and are sound asleep to replenish their energy for a day filled with adventure and excitement. However, there is someone watching them."
In that moment, I didn't take the time to think about how similar the storyline of the game was to what my friends and I were experiencing. Within the pixelated game, I can see someone looking through the window of the cabin. The game prompts me with a choice.
A. The creepy man breaks into the cabin and alerts 2 of the sleeping tenants of the cabin. B. The man picks the lock and is able to silently slip into the house.
Having him slip into the cabin without alerting anyone would probably not be such a good thing for the characters in the game. At least they would have a fighting chance if anything went down, if they were able to hear him break in. I select A. The pixelated man heaves a rock through the window and wakes up 2 of the sleeping characters. For a moment, I think I hear the faint sound of glass breaking, but I conclude that it must have just been coming from the video game. The creepy pixelated man roams around the first floor of the cabin. Meanwhile, the 2 characters that had heard the broken glass window make their way to the source of the noise. I watch as the creepy pixelated man hides in the dark in the kitchen. The other 2 pixelated characters both reach the living room at the same time and begin to look and converse with one another as they see the large rock and broken window. I'm presented with another prompt.
A. The 2 tenants head towards the kitchen to grab a weapon, as they suspect someone might have broken into the cabin. B. The creepy man lunges from his hiding spot and attacks the tenants, waking up the other remaining tenants within the cabin.
Now, this was an interesting choice. Should I have them arm themselves in case things take a turn for the worst, and they needed a weapon to defend themselves? Or should I have them be attacked and alert the others who would be able to come and help and more easily be able to subdue the trespasser? A voice from the computer ushers me to make a choice.
You should really make your choice, or I will have to make it for you.
I made my choice. B. The attacker rushes at the two tenants, but before doing so, he grabbed a knife from the kitchen knife set. He jumps onto one of the tenants and begins to stab them repeatedly. There's a loud scream and thud as the attacker takes his victim to the ground. The other tenants immediately wake up. Again, I think I hear faint sounds coming from outside the game, but at this point, I'm so immersed that I ignore them. Another prompt comes up.
A. All remaining tenants rush into the room to confront the intruder and attempt to overpower him, wresting the knife out of his hand. B. The intruder hops onto the second tenant within the living room and slashes their throat before the others can make it to the scene. He then begins to stab the victim repeatedly until his knife breaks. The other tenants finally make it to the intruder's location.
Well, I definitely didn't want another character to end up dead, so the obvious choice was to have the knife wrestled from the intruder. I select A. I hear a laugh come from the speakers of the monitor, followed by a voice.
Ooh, great choice.
The other tenants rush into the room, and they're able to wrestle the knife out of the intruder's hand. At that moment, I thought it was over, that I had won the game. However, the intruder pulls out a gun and points it at the other characters. I'm immediately brought out of the game when I hear a loud bang, followed by several other loud bangs from above me. What the hell? It was at that moment that I realized something was far from okay. The transpiring events within the game was taking place within this cabin, meaning there was an intruder in the cabin, that the characters within the game were my friends, that the choices I had made had doomed them all. I quickly looked back at the game. All the tenants were dead with pools of blood surrounding their bodies. However, there was no sign of the killer. Suddenly, I'm presented with another prompt.
A. The killer makes his way towards a hidden basement, armed with a gun, to hunt down the remaining tenant. B. The remaining tenant runs out of the basement as quick as possible and attempts to escape the cabin in the woods.
Instinctively, I almost immediately choose B. However, I take a moment to think about it. Whoever was presenting me with these prompts was obviously leading me to make the choices I was making. It was obviously a trick, and they were trying to get me to choose B. However, I make the choice of choosing A. Upon choosing A, I hear a voice.
Ugh, what a boring answer.
The voice says. I hear creaking coming from directly above me. The killer was in the basement, in my room, and soon he would enter this room. Another prompt appears on the screen.
A. The remaining tenant grabs a gun hidden within the left drawer of the desk and uses it to defend himself. B. The remaining tenant shuts down the computer and quits playing the game, but is forever haunted by the choices he made tonight that have killed his friends.
You monster. I'm not playing your game anymore. You want me to pick, huh? Well, I'm not picking either of these. If you want to kill me, then go ahead and get it over with. That's how this ends, right? You coward. You sick. Suddenly, the lights within the room turn off, and I'm engulfed by darkness. Within the darkness, I can hear something breathing. The lights turned back on, and stood directly in front of me is a 3-foot-tall, half goblin, half human-looking creature intensely glaring at me.
You don't like my game?
What the hell are you?
You should have finished playing my game. Leave my cabin. Now! Now! Now!
It screams, and I immediately ran past the creature and up the basement to the first floor, where I saw the bodies of all my dead friends. I uncontrollably throw up at the sight, but continue running past them as I grab my jacket and keys to the car. I drove for 8 hours with only making one stop to get gas. I've been home, locked up in my apartment for 2 weeks. I don't know who to call. I don't know who to trust. I don't know what to do. I keep seeing the creature every time I close my eyes. I keep hearing its voice asking me to play its game, to finish what I had started. I finally muster up the bit of mental clarity to call the police. I tell them where I am, and that I'm in imminent danger. I don't tell them exactly what occurred, thinking they wouldn't trust me, that they would think I was crazy. So, I'm recording this for you. If you're listening to this, the police are on their way now. The lights in my apartment just went out. I can hear the breathing again. It's here. It's standing right in front of me. I don't know how, but I think it's too late for me. It's come for me. Because I didn't finish what I had started. Because I didn't finish playing its game.